Welcome to the Black Girls Heal podcast, where we talk about changing unavailable relationship patterns, healing unresolved trauma, and building a healthy relationship with first you and then others. Every episode, we will talk about actionable advice that you can apply today to break unhealthy patterns and grow your self-worth. I'm Sheena Tubbs. Let's begin. Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of Black Girls Heal. I am so excited that you are with me today. I hope that this is finding you well. I hope that it's finding you thriving. I hope that you are getting everything that you want today because you deserve it. I am so excited because we are officially in December, which is my birthday month. I've been telling everybody it's my birthday month. It is my favorite month because there's so many different anniversaries here. Of course, my birthday. I was married this month. It's Jesus' birthday. It's the new year. It's just full of goodness. Black Girls Heal was created on Christmas Day years ago. So it's just all love this month. So I hope that you are feeling the love. I hope that you are finding peace and solace in your corner of the world and that you are doing the most that you can to at least carve out a little bit in the midst of all the traumas and tragedies that are real issues. You still deserve a minute of joy. You still deserve moments of feeling whole and feeling connected to yourself. So however you need to get it, whether it's with your therapist, whether it's with a friend, whether it's with tools that you picked up in your self-care journey, I really want to remind you to utilize that. So one thing I'm very grateful for is that we are wrapping up our From Avoidant to Available challenge. It's been really great to see women show up as their full selves, or at least start the process of showing up as their full selves. In case you don't know what that is, I have been hosting a free 10-day challenge where I've been giving out lessons to women to help them unlearn their patterns of avoidance. So we talked about the roots of where it comes from. We talked about what it looks like in their family traumas. We talked about building their vision around it. We talked about getting grounded in their body and learning how to build more self-compassion and self-love. Today I talked with them, or not today, today's lesson and yesterday's lesson, I talked about 4 reasons why dating may be sucking for them, because many of the women who are in my challenge and also here in the Black Girls community are women who are looking to heal their trauma, partly not only for themselves, but also hopefully for the benefit of having healthy partnerships. So I focused on that. And then we have our final lesson tomorrow, which I'm not going to say right now because I'm actually recording this podcast live. So I want it to be a surprise for those ladies who are in the challenge. But I'm grateful just to see women stepping out and claiming change, claiming a different path, claiming the ability to be open to love. And we're actually going to talk about that today because today's topic is all about dating after betrayal, or dating after trauma, or dating after heartbreak is really the title that I think I'm going to have this end up being, because it is a real thing. I most often hear women who are like, I love what you're talking about. This really resonates with me. I feel like you're talking about what I'm going through, but I just don't have the energy for dating. And the energy for dating could be because they are truly depleted after all of the hills and roller coasters and mountains they've had to climb, because they have been really hurt by someone before, because they're afraid of the rejection that comes with dating, because they're afraid that what if I put myself out there and what I actually want is not available? What if my secret fear is actually true, that what I actually want is not possible? So it's better just to sit back, to act like it doesn't exist, to ignore, and to settle with all these people and things that are not what your heart desires, and just hope that magically it'll all come back around. But it doesn't. We can only create change by actively showing up and being accountable for our full selves. We have to be a part of that change cycle. So with that, we have to change our mindset. We have to look at What are some of my perspectives? What are some of my beliefs? What are some of the ways that I've let my fears lead the charge? What are some ways that I've let the messages of the past take hold of my story, right? I'm grown, but I'm still being led by my past. And so today's episode is going to be all about that. It's going to be all about taking back our narrative and taking charge after being heartbroken. Okay? So setting the stage. So here on this podcast, in spite of the general name, which is a beautiful name, which I love, Black Girls Heal, what I really focus on is helping women heal from intimacy disorders. And those of us who have intimacy disorders, we are great at keeping people away from us. And some of us, the way that we keep people away is very obvious. And we got the walls up, we got the defenses, we don't trust people, we don't do people. And some of us are very sneaky. The ways that we will keep people away is that we invite in relationships with people who could never show up for us. And then we get heartbroken on the other side of it. And it's just this reinforced message that relationships are hard, or that we're not worthy enough because we pick people who don't see our worth, not because we don't have it, but because it's part of the self-sabotage mechanism that's really subconscious, right? Sometimes there's some of us who will actively go and pick someone who is unavailable because we don't have to worry about it. So some of us are or have been the type of woman who is looking for someone who's already in a committed relationship, who's looking for someone who lives far away, is looking for someone who's a workaholic, because we still get to have our own life and our freedom on the other side. And some of us really want to attach to someone, but we pick someone who can't show up the way that we need. So with all that said, and my efforts to set the stage, that's a very great recipe for us to continue to be disappointed. And sometimes we get really surprised because we think, well, I'm just doing this on my own. I'm just doing it for fun. When I'm ready for something serious, I'll find someone who's healthy. I will find a partnership that works for me. And we find that it's not that easy to turn it off. We find that we actually don't know how to turn it off. We find that even when we think we have on our healthy woman goggles, we still can't identify and zero in on someone who will actually be who we need them to be, and allow us to be who we need to be as well, and for it to be a mutual situation, right? So that gets old after a while. There's only so much or so long that you can put yourself out there without feeling like, is it me? And if it's not me, do I even want to do this anymore? Is it even worth all this, right? I can do bad all by myself. The amount of pain that you have to go through to go up the hill and go back down the hill, it's just too much effort, and you got enough going on in your own life, right? Especially if you have kids, especially if you have a lot of things going on. It's like, it's better just to not have to worry about it. So I get that, and I validate that. The problem that I also have with that, though, as much as I validate it and I want you to own where you are, is I always push my clients, I always push my students by when I ask them, what is it that you want? And so whenever I have someone who tells me with their whole heart and looks me in their eyes and tells me, you know what, Sheena, I'm fine being single, and they mean it deep in their soul, then great. I want that for you. You do not get any extra prize in life by being married or being partnered or being in a polyamorous relationship or whatever it might be. Anyone who's listening to this, I've said this before, anyone who's listening to this, if you wanted to be in a relationship, you got 5 people you could call right now. Everybody's listening now. It might not be somebody you want, but you got somebody in your phone. You got someone who has given you attention before. You could be in a relationship if it was really about that, right? But you don't get any brownie points at the end of all this because you had a partner for a long period of time or a short period of time. However, if it is a heart desire of yours, if I ask you, what do you want? And you say, Sheena, I'm fine being single, but there's still that little twinge inside of you of yearning for more. I'm going to challenge that. And I'm going to talk to you about, okay, but what is that true? And if it's not true, why why is it difficult for you to say it out loud, right? So what I hope in today's episode is I hope that I'm able to give you some motivation, if you're someone who wants to be in a partnership, to get back out there. Of course, in your own time. I'm not telling you to drop everything and go and get on Hinge or Bumble or whatever's out there now. But I want there to be a shift so that you are not stuck, that you're not limited and going out for everything that in your mind and your vision of what a full and whole life looks like is I believe is owed to you, right? I believe that we have the right to go out for everything that we desire. So let me just go ahead and jump into this. So for this podcast, I want to talk about 3 types of people, or 3 things that you need to make sure that you are not doing, that will limit you from actually building a healthy relationship after heartbreak, after you've gone through this roller coaster a lot of times and you're like, I don't even know if I want to get back on that ride. Okay. So the first one is, I want you to just conceptualize, or I want you to consider that maybe you're putting your life on hold for people in your past that do not deserve you. Okay? So if you are having a hard time dating after heartbreak, I want you to consider that maybe what you're doing is you're putting your life on hold due to people who are no longer in your life who never deserved you in the first place. So not only did you have the heartbreak of back then when they flaked on you, when they cheated on you, when they refused to go to counseling with you, when they didn't share their emotions with you, even though you tried to show up as your best self, when they, whatever it is that happened for you, when they wouldn't stop working as much, when they stole from you, whenever their addiction got too hard, whenever they stopped taking their medication and wouldn't go back on their medication, whenever they got incarcerated for whatever thing that they did, whatever sense of abandonment or hurt or rejection or discarding of you that happened. So not only do you have to deal with the trauma of that, but now, even when they are no longer around, you're still carrying the remnants of these people who you have always deserved better. You have always been worthy of more than they gave you. And so now, because you are afraid of meeting another one of them, you're stopping yourself from being able to be a part of something that's healthier, that's more healing for you, because being in a healthy relationship is very healing, right? You start to unlearn all of these messages that have taught you that that your voice is too much, or that you want is too much, or you're too needy, or you're too clingy, and then you get into a partnership or into a relationship and find out, wait, I'm normal? Wait, it's okay to ask for this? It's okay to expect someone to be loyal and not have to lose sleep about it because I just know that that's true. Like the way that I know that the sky is blue, I know that this person, I can trust them with my heart. This is how it's supposed to, this easy. And yes, it can be. And yes, it should be, right? But the longer you wait to go and resume your journey into romantic partnerships, the more you allow this person or these people to have power over you. And part of the things that we need to reclaim in our healing journey is taking our power back. Taking our power back from people from our past, or our childhood trauma, people who try to steal our voice, people who try to take our value, people who try to take our sense of self-control and make our existence for their own pleasure, for their own enjoyment, for their own comfort, right? That's what our healing process is as adult women. Reclaiming what someone tried to take from us, right? Or at least that's part of it, right? And knowing that not only is this mine, but I'm going to give you back what belongs to you. So you need to reclaim something that this person did when they broke your heart, when they disappointed you, when they lied to you, and say, even though that's what you were like, I refuse to believe that this is my normal. And it might have been my normal back in the past, but it does not have to be my normal now. Right? So I want you again to consider no longer putting your life on hold for someone who wasn't even worth all that, right? And if in your mind you're like, well, yes, he was, or yes, she was, and maybe I'm the problem. So there's a difference between you holding yourself accountable for ways that you may have messed up in a relationship and you making this person a mini God. You making them someone who is all knowing, all being, and the only one that you could actually be in connection with and have a mutually life-giving relationship, right? I don't know who this person is, in case this does apply to you. I don't know who this person is or what happened in your relationship, but I promise you that this person is human just like you. And I promise you that if there was heartbreak given to you on your side, right? Yes, you can learn from your mistakes, but I want you to be careful to not worship someone to make them your whole world, right? Because that's too high of a pedestal to put them on. Also, you lose your sense of identity when you give all of your sense of purpose, all of your sense of happiness into one other person. Those are all things that start with you. I used to hate when people used to say this to me before, talking about, you need to like feel happy with yourself and, true happiness starts with you. And you're like, well, yes. And I would really like someone who's 6'3" and 289 pounds and lots of muscles to hold me. And that would really help me feel loved too. Right? Like, yes. And what this also really helps. Right? And yes, that might be true. But if you are on the inside still not feeling like you're worthy, it doesn't matter how much affirmation they give you. It doesn't matter how much care they give you, because you are going to have a hard time receiving it. So it has to start with you. Second thing I want you to consider when it comes to dating after heartbreak is consider if maybe you are putting this on hold because you've been carrying around someone else's trauma and shame. All right. So another reason why I hear people talk about they want to kind of put a pin in dating or put a pin in engaging in a relationship is because they are very afraid of repeating trauma from their past. But the gag is not trauma from themselves past, but trauma from their mama's past, or trauma from their auntie's past, or trauma from their cousin's past, right? So you watch someone else that you love go through all of these hills and valleys, go through all of these ups and downs, all of this abuse, all of this deception, infidelity, nights alone, struggle, financial woes because they were partnered with or married someone who was financially manipulative or dishonest. And you're like, I don't need all that. So you will stop what is actually a desire of yours. Again, I'm only talking to women who actually want to be in a partnership. If you are truly either asexual or I don't need it, I got it on my own, then great. This podcast, I promise you, is not for you. But if it is a desire for you to be in partnership with someone and you are so afraid of someone else's trauma coming onto you, we got to look at this, right? So for one, you are taking on responsibility for things that have never been, one, in your control, nor in your responsibility to fix, right? You are taking on what often is someone else's projection onto you of their own brokenness, of their own turmoil, and you're saying, and you are making it your own. And what that does is that stops you from creating your own story. It stops you from looking at this big path in front of you called life and saying, what do I want to create for my own? There's two ways of looking at what you're learning from someone else's trauma. And the first way is what I'm describing. So you look at what someone's been through and you're like, you know what? I'm not going there. So I'm just not going to move at all. And I'm just going to stay here because I'm too afraid if I take a step forward, I'm going to step in the same puddle they did. I think I'm going to fall into the same pit. So I'm just not going to move at all. The other perspective is to see what they did and to see what happened with them and say, you know what? This is the path they went through. They took a left at this corner. All right, bet. I'm going to take a right. Or, okay, they went straight down here. Awesome. I'm going to go down the other street. Or, oh, they had let that person come along with them. Great. I know not to let either that person or someone who's like that person. I'm going to get my own healthy crew and I'm going to create my new narrative. I'm going to create my new journey. If you want to have anything in this world, you have all the power and all the answers inside of you that you need to get there. Now, maybe you need help unlocking that. Maybe you need trusted advisors and guides to help you get there. But whatever desire you have in your heart is there for a reason. And I don't want you to mute that. And the last point that I'm going to make for this podcast episode is sometimes you will delay dating because you do not think that you are worth it. Because you think that similar to what I was saying at first, you think that if I actually go out there and I actually try to date people who I think are in the caliber of what I want, maybe they only like light-skinned girls, or maybe they only like white girls, or they only like this type of woman, or maybe I need to be this kind of person, or you pay attention to the smallest sign of possible rejection because you are so afraid that it could never work out, or it could never be that easy, or he's just being nice right now, or some kind of excuse to keep them away. But that's because you do not believe. You might think that you are worth good things in other areas of your life, right? So there might be many areas of your life that you hold a very high standard. But when it comes to this, when you have someone who's actually attentive towards you, emotionally engaged with you, physically attractive, has a good relationship with women, and is not sexist. I mean, whatever is on your list, you're like, there must be a catch. Versus a reality that, no, like, I should have a choice in the type of people who I'm in partnership with, right? Actually, the real truth is that there are tons of healthy, amazing people in this world. And because there are tons of healthy and amazing people, I don't have to grab the first one I meet, right? Because I'm so afraid of that lack mentality that there's never going to be another one after that. And then the second one is, it is normal to be courted, is normal for someone to value me from the beginning. I don't have to prove it. I don't have to be suspicious. I don't have to play games. It doesn't have to be this power cycle. It's normal for things to be easier. And I get to choose. I get to choose who's a good fit for me and who's not, right? But if you have had heartbreak where people have reaffirmed this secret negative core belief that there's something wrong or something broken with you or something fatally flawed with you, it makes sense that you would want to avoid being in those partnerships, because the last thing you need is for that secret belief to be confirmed by another crash and burn, right? So what I want you to know in all of these things is that you have the capability, say it with me because you could probably tell what I'm about to say because I repeated it a few times, or more than a few times, is you have control. You have the power to change the trajectory of your life. You are deserving of every good thing that you want. And if dating, even in the midst of your heartbreak, is something that you want, you get to have it, girl. You get to have it. Even in 2021, even in at the height of the pandemic, girl, you got breath in your lungs. You are still here. So why are we waiting? If this year has taught us anything, is that we have to go for what we want now. Tomorrow is not promised at all for any of us, right? And so how are we going to make the most of today? Okay. I posted on Instagram this past week, us all being at home, we're all looking at our environments and seeing like what we need to upgrade or what needs to be changed. And for me, I'm like looking at my bedroom and I'm like, this room is looking real dusty. So I I painted it and I was like, I need some new bedspreads. I'm exchanging all these pillows. I'm switching all the furniture up. And I could have said, you know what, I don't plan on being in this house forever, so I can just wait. But I'm like, no, like today is my moment. This is a room that I spend a lot of time in. It's affecting my energy. I need to change this now. Right. And I think many people have done the same depending on where you are and what the pandemics look like for you. Some people have become plant moms. Some people have picked up other hobbies. Some people have self-assessed and started therapy. Like we've all done our own rebuilding. And I want you to not have any excuses to move forward here. Okay. So that is my bid for you. That's my encouragement for you. If you're listening to this post-pandemic, it still applies. Don't let people from your past who never deserved you, don't let other people's trauma try to dictate your story. You get to write your own story, and also you are worth it. If all of this sounds great and you're like, this is awesome, and I need, as awesome as this is, there's still some blocks. I still need some help making sure that I'm actually picking the right people, because as much as I'm like, I'm going to pick someone who's healthy, it's still not working for me. If you're like, all right, sis, but I still need help with these boundaries around family and other people, I got you. We have our recovery school that's currently open for enrollment. We are starting in January, the first week. So we only have a few weeks left for you to grab your spot. So you can go to therecoveryschool.com and learn more and join us. We have our first group call on the next week, actually, which is leading right up to, no, not next week. Is it next week? Yeah, next week, which is leading right up to Christmas. So just in time for us to talk about boundaries. And in case you join after our group call, you still have access to me and the rest of the community to help get your boundaries in place for the holiday as we get started in January. So that's it for this episode. I hope that it finds you well, and I will see you next time. Make sure you take care of yourselves. Hey, so thanks for listening to today's podcast. If you enjoy what you learned today, it doesn't have to stop here. Check out the Black Girls Heal website at blackgirlsheal.org for more resources to help you heal from intimacy disorders like love addiction and love avoidance. The best time to start or restart your healing journey is now. You can grab a free copy of our 5-step roadmap to heal love addiction, love avoidance, and love deprivation by going to blackgirlsheal.org/roadmap. And if you're on social media, feel free to follow us at Black Girls Heal on Instagram and Facebook.